Cardinal Nation, hello. We are back. It is Tuesday at noon. I am your host, Lonnie Watson, high school counselor. This is Cardinal Cast. I am joined with our principal, Jerry Mack. Hello, Mr. Mack.
Hi.
So, I'm here. I'm on my phone book.
You're back on the phone book.
We're back on Facebook Live. I'm wearing clashing colors. Gotta get that figured out.
My tie's crooked.
Red and rust do not go together.
Okay. We'll learn something there.
So, if we don't get comments for my clashing colors, which we should, this might be the first topic that we get some comments on.
You know what? Hey, speaking of comments, I've gotten some feedback from some parents, some people they're starting to kind of tune in and watch this. Have you heard some?
Well, mostly just that I'm looking a lot better than you on YouTube.
Well, I hope so.
I'm joking. In my clashing colors. No, I have two. I think people enjoy it. I think they're listening.
Yeah, and this is our longer version. You know, we do some shorter stuff here and there. 2-minute drill is one. Mm-hmm. You do some stuff from the counselor's office, but these are people who kind of join us for the long haul, 30-minute sessions of just hearing what's going on in the office of a high school. You know,
I was up yesterday at CSC. We had the counselor's update where all the colleges come in, and I had a few CSC, just some high-ups in the admin say that they were listening, so I said, hey, let's go.
Welcome, CSC.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
All right.
Almost
so here's our topic. We are covering taking challenging classes. Mm-hmm. Is it worth the work?
Is it worth the work?
Is it worth the work? And I'm telling you, this might be the one where we have most just like personal opinion vested in this, professional opinion, heart into this, and you might disagree with us on this a little bit, and that's okay. We're here for your comments as well. If you have questions, we're here for it, but we're going to be real.
Yeah, right. I agree. The thing to keep in mind, it's just opinions. They're my opinion, your opinion.
Yeah.
You know, if, as a parent, here's what I did. Here's what you're thinking.
Yep.
Take it for what it's worth. Ultimately, we're going to come right out in front and say, parents, students, you make the choice. You make the choice.
Absolutely, yeah.
We're trying to do a better job of just providing a little background behind why make a harder choice.
Well, we
is
talk
it worth
about
it?
Well, yeah. Of course it is. Of course it is. But we talk about coaching parents up as being consultant model. We walk the walk. Yeah. Parents, just so you know, and students, you already know this. When you come in, I think our motto is first try to understand before we give advice. So understand first. So we walk the walk. We are consultants first. We are not experts. We've been doing this for a while, so we think we've got some ideas on what works. But parents consult with us, students consult with us. We're just here to help.
Yeah, and I probably get daily reminders. I know it just happened again this week that sometimes my opinion is different than the parents. I'm thinking sometimes you put the school dad hat on and you're like, I'm going to, I've got this student, I'm going to talk about this and this and try to promote whatever the topic is. And then come to find out it just wasn't either well received or the message didn't come across, and the parents really, I felt like, maybe I shouldn't have had the conversation. So, but that's what we do. I think we take the responsibility on of, we understand we spend a lot of time with your kids. I think we do a pretty good job overall. I'm not asking anyone to trust us with their kid. I mean, I hope you do, but because we get tough conversations. I've had a few parents just this week. One comes in and they're asking, would you please, as a school dad, talk with my kid? Mm-hmm. And that was one from today, and it just made me feel good. It's like a reminder that, okay, these talks that we have, these conversations, sharing our opinions and kind of our beliefs about high school and rigor and schedules and all these different things, there is a value to it, I think, to some parents. So that's what this is.
You bet.
Today's topic, I
love today's topic.
Tell them about what we're doing different because I got a text from you last night.
Well, so I was gone at a conference yesterday, so I was out of the office, and I thought, we never get a time to really debrief for these anyway. Right. We just kind of have to wing it from time to time just because our offices are just crazy. And good stuff. We're consulting. We're doing things. Yeah. So I wrote some ideas yesterday of what I really wanted to talk about. And I just told, and he's putting his hand over his. I texted Mr. Mack and I said, okay.
My notes.
Let's try this. You come up with your, because I knew his answers would be, is it worth the work? Yes. Yeah, our answer is yes, it is. And I said, you come up with your top 3 reasons why.
Okay.
I will come up with my top 3 reasons why. We'll share them, but we won't. So I don't know what he's going to say.
So
I have no idea. So this could be amazing, or it could be not very great.
So us preparing our own top 3.
Yeah.
But not sharing them. That's the most prepared we are for a podcast, videocast yet.
Yeah, by far. By far.
So just to reinforce, these are our opinions from being in these positions. I'm okay if I'm wrong. I'm okay with that.
It's happened once before where I have been wrong. I was wrong that one time. It stings. No, I'm joking. I'm wrong every day.
I used to tell the students all the time. I was like, I've been wrong before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was the mid '80s.
But
times were different. But no, we make mistakes, of course. But this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun because it's going to be our opinion about should students take rigorous courses in high school. These courses that are hard, take more time, that are difficult. And you don't get to see
I'm trying not to look.
I have my top 3. But on top of that, I cheated a little bit, and I went and visited with some students who took some hard courses last year. I was like, I remember you struggling in this class. What would you have taken it again? What did you get out of it? So I'll share some of that with you as well.
Good. So here's my question.
Okay.
Do we just start with our ones, or can I just ask you 1 through 3?
Nope,
I'm just going to pick one.
I'm going to keep them.
Okay.
I have mine in order.
Okay.
From the most important number 1, second important number 2, and then the least important number 3.
So you want to go in that order?
Yeah, so I'm going to go 3 to 1.
You're going 3 to 1.
I'm saving the best for the last.
Okay, I'm going 1 to 3 then. Oh wait, I'm starting then. Am I starting?
You're starting.
Okay, my number 1 reason, this is really surprising because I'm a school counselor. Money, honey. Let's talk the money. I just went there. Does that say something bad about me? I value money too much.
You're definitely a school counselor.
I put scholarships, man.
Oh.
I put scholarships number 1.
Okay.
I am so biased, and I am so, I don't know how else to say, I'm selfish. Because I want kids to take the hard classes, because what happens when they take the hardcore area classes, and even some of the non-cores, it just, because they read a lot in them, is all I see is a positive correlation with ACT, and it enables me to get your kids money. So by taking a hard class, even if they get a bad grade in the hard class, I can still get them more money for taking that hard class than I can if they don't. Plain and simple. I can get your kid more money. There's more money for kids who take hard classes.
But a hard class might affect my GPA. My GPA I might get a B.
You might get a B. You might get a D.
I might get a D.
And I'm okay with that.
How am I going to get scholarships if I get a B or a D?
Matter. You guys, it doesn't matter. I tell you what, for some scholarships we have to put a transcript in, but a lot of them we don't. And we talk about this, we tease. There is no scholarship, parents hear me, for a 4.0. Yeah. There's not one that exists. If you find one, send it my way. But I haven't never found a scholarship for a 4.0. So I don't see any benefit from saving yourself from a hard class if you're worried about getting a poor grade. Because scholarships are out there. You have, sometimes this is the first chance your kid has ever had for some real adversity, and it gives them opportunities to write better essays in the future, to shake people's hands stronger, to build confidence, to go through. Scholarships. Your student will get more money by taking hard classes than they will easier classes.
Okay. Got that one covered?
Covered it. Money, honey.
Well, so I'm going 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
So my number 3 is going to tie in with you, and you knew this was coming up. Mm-hmm. You knew I was going to talk about the data that we've been seeing.
Well, you're a nerd.
I am a nerd. So one thing about Chadron High School, and I know we have alumni out there that are watching this that have gone through our halls and our classrooms. It's no secret. What's Chadron High School's hardest course? The most difficult course.
That's an idea.
There's one and only one that pops up every single time.
That brings tears to our eyes.
That just is hard. Time.
Are you talking about trigonometry?
That's trigonometry.
Let's talk trig. Let's go there.
So trig's a class that there's no secret behind it. I remember it. The trig teacher has been phenomenal. That's been a great course for us. Chadron High School has reaped a lot of benefits from that course, and I'm going to show you some of the data behind that to prove that statement. But that course, that teacher, everything existed before I became a principal, and I can tell you that when I became a principal, that was a common phone call from parents, especially early in the semester, was it's too hard, it's difficult, those kind of things, or maybe some tears from a kid who's a little overwhelmed from the homework or those kind of things. What I know that most current students in the building don't know is that there's actually less homework in there now than what there was 10 years ago. It has kind of pared down a little bit. But we purposely allow that class. We purposely choose a textbook that's different than the rest of our series, our publishers in the math curriculum or the math courses, so that it reviews more algebra than trig. In fact, the first probably, 6 weeks, they call it the P chapters, and the alumni out there, you know what I'm talking about.
I call them the tears chapters.
Yeah, the tears chapters.
Tears chapters,
It's our way of sneaking in like Algebra 3. Mm-hmm. It's hardly a review at all of Algebra 1, a lot of review of Algebra 2, mm-hmm. and then this introduction, more of functions and different things with Algebra 3. And by the way, that topic, that subject of algebra is on the ACT more than any other math subject. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to show you, and for those of you listening on the podcast, you're not going to be able to see this, so I'm going to try to describe it as I switch my screen here real quick. What I have is some data from, this is a recent year. There's probably a better view. I can't even see my computer very well right now. I apologize. We'll get there. So this is data from a recent class that took trig. Let me back that up. It's their ACT scores from a junior year. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And what I did is we've always known that the students who take trig, we just know over and over they're scoring higher in ACT. And you might say, well, it's because the smart students take trig and that's why they're scoring higher. Well, that might be true. So what I decided to do recently was I looked at all of our students who took Algebra 2 and then went on and took trig, and I compared if you stopped at Algebra 2 versus if you went on and took trig, and I started comparing ACT scores. So on my screen, and again, it looks like I got an internet issue right now, but on my screen I'm showing data from 25 randomly selected juniors that took the ACT recently, and truthfully this was last year. And I have their Algebra 2 grades listed in this first column, and I have all of the students on my big spreadsheet, but just so it fit on a poster, I kind of put this together. So we look and saw what grade they got in Algebra 2. We compared that with the grade they got in trig. And then we compared that with their math score on the ACT, just the math portion of the ACT test. Without going into a lot of detail, what's kind of fun is, okay, a student who got, let's say, a 90% in Algebra 2, well, we have several students that got a 90% in Algebra 2. Some of them went on to take trig, some didn't. Mm-hmm. So we could compare those students, and that's what I was really looking at.
I'm smiling right now because this is going to wheelhouse perfectly into my number 2.
I know. Well,
I'm really glad this.
You were talking about scholarships with number 1. I'm like, I've got the data.
I'm smiling. I'm looking at this data and I'm smiling because it's going to work perfect to wheelhouse in there.
So I went ahead and I sorted this data for those that can see the screen by their ACT, the math score. The highest one was a 35 of the 25 selected. This isn't of all the juniors, down to a 13. The column is color-coded. We have 3 different benchmarks on the ACT, which you know, but when we do state testing, you're either at benchmark, meaning you're doing very well, you're on track, meaning the middle of the pack, or you're below proficiency. And again, if you're listening to this through audio or Facebook, you're not seeing the graphics either. Just go over to the Chadron High School YouTube channel, and you can review this video to see the data. And so what it shows is once I put it in order, I'm like, it really didn't surprise me that the students who took trig did better on the ACT. Even when you compare the best you can apples to apples, meaning the student who got an 89 in Algebra 2 versus a student, there are 2 students that got 89 in Algebra 2, one took trig, one didn't. You could see the increase.
I mean, we're talking like, you guys, if you can't see this, no worries. I mean, we are talking like 6 ACT points better than the kids who didn't. And they're getting the same grades in Algebra 2. I mean, we're talking about 87s, 95s, 92s, 81s in Algebra 2, and 6-point boost. No wonder they're getting scholarships.
And here's a kiddo, if you're able to see the graphic, who, got a C in Algebra 2, but failed trig. And truthfully, there's outside reasons for why the student struggled and ended up failing.
Year,
But that student stayed in the class, continued to plug away, and scored on track on the ACT, which just blew me away that that's how much this kiddo absorbed while being in that classroom. So here's the data real quick. I'm just going to run through a few things. First of all, 51 of our 56 juniors last year took Algebra 2, and that's why we're successful in a lot of state testing and whatnot. Most of our kids do, because Algebra 2 is an advanced class. Of those 51, 23 of them, almost half of them also took Trig, went on to take Trig. So when we looked at whether they were proficient in math, the kids who stopped at Algebra 2 didn't go any further. 9 of those kids out of 28 were proficient. So some of them were, but that's far less than half of the kids were proficient on math on the ACT test. Whereas the kids who took Trig, 22 of 23 kids scored proficient. Proficient. That means they were either on track or at benchmark. That's night and day.
It's amazing.
That's why you take harder classes.
That's why you take harder classes.
The crazy part, I'm going to jump some of this. I'm going to go down to, so what does it do to your overall math score? And what the data showed is we got an average boost on the math subject of the ACT by 6.3 points.
I thought it was around 6 when I was just quickly looking at that. That is, you guys,
So
I've never seen, I have in my career, and I tell kids all the time, I have never, ever seen an increase like that on ACT scores. It's amazing.
Correct. Yeah. And then to look at that data further, you can see that if you're increasing the math, which is just one subject among the 4 that's tested on the ACT, then what does that do to the composite score? And it increases the composite score by over 4 points.
It's amazing.
Which we kind of knew. We've seen this year after year after year, and that's why we've never backed down on the Trig being a rigorous course. We've never asked the teacher to, let's do less homework, let's change it to an easier textbook. The key is to get the right student in the room, and that's parents, that's what you're going to make a decision on with your student, which is today's topic. Should we take rigorous courses? Should we take harder courses in high school? And I would say, don't take all hard courses.
Right.
Sprinkle in some of the other things as well, but there is a very valid statistical reason based on data of a benefit to an ACT score. Now, should every student be taking an ACT? Well, no. We got kids who aren't going to go to college, so therefore the ACT doesn't matter to them. Well, I don't know if they need to take Trig or not.
Right.
So my third reason, not my top reason, my third reason to take a harder course load is to increase your ACT score, which ties in with your number 1, which is therefore it connects with scholarships
Winning
as
the
well.
money, honey.
There you
Winning
go.
the money, honey is what I titled my number 1. Oh, ask me my number 2. It fits so well right now.
I'm curious. Truthfully, I am.
It works good. Okay, my number 2 reason why it's worth the work to take hard classes is, I'm going to talk college bound here. So if you are college bound, and my number 2 is called No Transitional Studies classes. I know you know what that means.
No transitional studies.
No transitional studies classes. So
Okay.
it actually ties back into the ACT a little bit. If you get a chance to look at the data sheet, you're going to notice that and we don't have names on those student sheets,
Right,
but every one of those students that scored under a 19 in math has to take what we call a transitional studies class. And this is why I also think AP Lit is a good idea. I think AP US History, if your student is up for the challenge and knows they want to go to college. Those core areas, if you score less than a 19, the college, you're just not ready for college writing, for college math. So we were using Trig as an example, but it works for English too. I'll use English as an example. Taking challenging reading courses, making you a better reader, making you a better writer, will hopefully produce into better scores, which hopefully means that you don't have to take a transitional studies course, which means you're taking a class. I used to teach it. I think you taught it back in the day too. Yep. Linda Drinkwalter taught it. We've all taken
Intro to
our
Algebra, I think was the one I did.
Yep, mine too. Called Intro to College Algebra. It is a $1,000 class. It is no credits. You don't get any credits, and
What?
you no credits. You get.
So is it free?
It's $1,000.
You pay $1,000
You
bucks,
pay
you don't get credits.
You
for
don't
it.
get any credits. You pay $1,000 to take it. They make you take it. You don't get to choose. And then you pay the $1,000, and then you still have to take college algebra. So you still have to
In a 4-year school.
In a 4-year school.
Correct.
So it's a pain because they put your college schedule on hold, and they say that you're not academically ready to make choices for your own schedule. So we're going to make choices for you.
Okay.
And I just know these students in our building, a lot of them are. I really think a lot of them are academically ready. They just haven't taken the right courses yet to put them in the position to not have to take transitional studies. So I talk about that all the time. If you're going to, an example, I helped a student who's going to go, wants to go to WNCC Power Line School. That looks a little different. You don't need a 19 on your math. And we've got a course for you called Technical Math that we can get you college credit. So there are obviously a lot different pathways. But if your pathway is a 4-year school, man, my number 2 is no transitional studies classes if avoided in English, in math.
So let's pretend I'm a high school student, and I'll just stick with math since that's what we were talking about before. So let's say I'm a high school student and I don't like math. I just don't enjoy it. It's hard for me, that kind of thing. And I'm in public school. I'm in Chadron High School. So I avoid all the high math course because I don't like math. So I take the lowest level possible. But yet I want to go to a 4-year college or university. So what you're telling me is because I've avoided all those classes, I didn't have an opportunity to learn the stuff to boost my ACT score. So now I'm going to a 4-year school. And instead of just taking the one college algebra course that's required, I now have to take up to 3 college math courses.
Absolutely.
I'm punished. I have to pay for them. And I have to take the transitional course to get to the intro to course to finally get to the college algebra, which is the one math requirement for college, and then be done. So instead of
just doing it now.
So just in high school,
it's going to come. It's going to happen. It's going to come if you're on that track.
So it costs me money and time.
It costs you money and time.
In college.
It sure does.
Okay.
Which kind of fits to my number 3, but you go. You're up.
Okay. So I was kind of almost hoping you were going to talk more college and whatnot. This one I found some research, and again, that's me. I connected it to something. So I actually kind of, I've heard of this research out there, so I've got just one example. I've got it kind of printed in front of me here, but research shows there's a clear connection between course rigor and achievement. And in this, so you go, okay, course rigor and achievement. What achievement are we talking about? The ACT all the time? They actually, in this study here, this was, let me take my sticky note off. This was 37,700 high school graduates were in this study. This was actually in 2009 was the one I pulled. From like 740 different public schools, and it includes some private schools as well. And what they said was, and I'm not going to read all this to you, but part of the study's conclusion found that there's a correlation between students who took Algebra 2 and higher in high school and went on to hold top-tier jobs.
Nice.
It's not about ACT. It's not about college. They're just flat out talking about employment, opportunities, achievement in careers later. That really surprised me, and I got a kick out of this. They talked about these findings demonstrate a clear connection between course rigor and achievement. They argue strongly for students to take more challenging curriculum in high schools. By the way, there's been a trend in that recently where students are taking more rigorous.
I'd believe it.
Yeah.
As someone who does schedules, I'd believe that.
It says rigor in high school is closely linked to success afterward, and the study confirms that we need higher secondary standards across the board. In particular, it talked about we need stronger requirements in math and science. It's kind of where they were going. This was National Assessments of Educational Progress High School Transcript Study. They were the ones that did as education majors are going to know, but they did the nation's report card. Was one of the famous studies 20 years ago.
Sounds boring.
Yeah, so, but what gets me is by challenging yourself, rigorous coursework in high school, it's leading to more achievements, even outside of just testing and ACT and assessments. They're talking about how that gives you more opportunities, whether it's confidence. I'm not going to read it all to you, but how it's connected even to the jobs and careers later in life. And they even talked about some of the research shows that earlier that you start taking rigorous courses like freshman year, maybe even like right now we have students who can take Algebra 1 in middle school, then come to high school and start with like geometry, and how taking rigorous courses earlier was a big influence as well on achievement later in life and through careers.
I would believe it. I see a lot more success in the job force of people who like push themselves to take hard classes than I do a valedictorian. I mean, I don't see necessarily.
Yeah. Well, in employers, what do you look for? People who work hard.
Heck yeah.
I've always said, show up early for work every day, work until that ending bell or whatever time you're paid, and you know, I think that pays off. Hard work, honestly, I think is recognized by employers.
Well, cool. I think that's true.
All right, more achievement, higher pay, higher salaries. It's all, you can Google all the studies you want there.
Okay, this is my last one.
Okay, last one.
I'm gonna get all social emotional on you now. I kind of focused
Social
college.
emotional.
I'm gonna get all. I'm gonna get mushy.
Good?
I'm gonna
All
bring
right.
the feels for this one. My final benefit, why it is worth the work, is because for both students, this is gonna be both students and parents. I'm gonna gear it two ways. I titled it, "You get to witness your student process stress."
Oh.
So I think that stress can be a blessing. I think there is such thing as good stress.
Absolutely.
And I think that even these rigorous classes, though they have good stress, they can bring out the overwhelm and the bad stress. And as a parent, as someone who loves these kids in our building, as someone who loves my own kids, I want to see them reach capacity.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see them overwhelmed. Does that sound weird?
That sounds weird.
It does, but I want to see our students at a breaking point where they need me or need you at some point, or need you as mom or dad, because then we get to witness them process stress. And what I'm noticing, and it's just, I've read a lot about, you know, we were kind of the self-esteem generation. I think my generation of, like, parents were like, here, you can do anything you want, and you're really good, and you're amazing, and nobody can tell you otherwise.
Right.
But then the first time, like, you really earn a D, it's like, oh, but my mom told me I was amazing. And, like, there's some hard things that happen in life, and some things that are self-inflicted, and some things that are out of our control. I'm okay with students having some stress while they're in high school. They are in such a safe environment here. And I am the school counselor telling you they are not losing out on college opportunities or scholarships for getting a D in a class. Not even for failing a class, you guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, if they fail multiple classes, yes. If their GPA drops below a threshold of, 3.0, then maybe they'll be out for some, because that's normal. But 1 or 2 bad grades, I think it's a blessing to be able to get rid of, shed perfectionism, shed the idea that we're always going to be perfect, find something that's truly challenging and hard, and do your best. And then maybe reflect and say, did I do my best? Every test is a new opportunity to judge. Man, AP Lit is hard. It's really hard, and we only get about a handful of kids who want to take it. But after that class, I've never had one kid say they wish they wouldn't have taken it. Right. They are so blessed for how they were challenged, how they learn. So you get to witness students process stress. And I'm going to get mushy here. We save kids from a lot these days, and I am the most guilty in this building. And the teachers will tell you, hands down. Mr. Mack will tell you, there's no one person in the building that tries to save kids from hard things more than me. Okay, but you guys, Trig is hard, AP Lit is hard, AP US History is hard. That's hard. But it's not that hard. You know what's really hard? Losing a parent.
Right.
You know what's really hard? Getting a freaking divorce. I wrote a couple things. Losing a job. That's hard stuff. And we've been through some of that stuff. Right. And it makes me, emotional to talk about it. But those are really, really hard things that we can't prepare kids for. Because bless it that none of our kids have to lose a parent while they're as young as maybe when I lost a parent, or my husband, or kids in our building. But hard things are coming, right? And so if we can find a way to harness a hard thing but a safe thing, like a class, I think I see it as a blessing.
I think we could go on and on this topic, because I think we need to recognize and embrace adversity. Because we talked about the very first day of school, one thing humans are not good at is knowing the difference between adversity and opportunity. Mm-hmm. We can't control when they're coming, but humans are horrible at knowing which is which. Right. What I thought was an opportunity ended up being adversity. And with the students, I always talk about a relationship. You start dating someone, dating the hot girl, kind of thing. And it ends up being adversity because it's just a challenging relationship, adds a lot of stress for the student, or vice versa. And my mantra, I just don't know how many things in life we gain by the easy road, by the easy path, that things came easy to us. In fact, I think most of life's true learning moments, and maybe even some of life's blessings, come after adversity and challenges in life. And so we need it to be okay that we have adversity in our life. Like, this morning I got a phone call. We have one of our building administrators had to help a family find a hotel room last night because they're homeless. We talked about it today. We got literally in Chadron, we have, a family that has no place to live, to stay last night. They're still working on it, and we just hook up the resources in the community. That's adversity.
That's a hard thing.
Yeah.
It's a really hard thing.
Yeah, and I was homeless in third grade. I think right before third grade, we had to move in with relatives too. I come from, you and I talk, we come from hard backgrounds. And just, I know what that's like. And yet, I can look back, sometimes I thought they were happy times, just because your family's in a different, you're living with other people, Anyways, we can go on and on, but I think we need to embrace adversity. And I think parents sometimes feel judged that, like, for instance, I'll just pick on social media, Facebook, those kind of things. And I apologize just for being stereotyping.
We love you, Facebook. We love you. Thank you for joining us.
But there's so much research. I agree. There's so much research about you see the best of other people's lives. They're not posting the pictures of their family fighting.
Yeah.
It's their family vacation. And when your brain sees that over and over and over, you think, gosh, everyone else has it going on and I don't. I got to do one vacation, or if any, how that story goes. And so I think sometimes we as people, and especially parents, I'm talking to you right now, I think we feel judged that we need to make sure we're providing the best, the most, and all of this stuff for our kids. And it goes back to, I think we try to prepare the road for the kid instead of the kid for the road ahead. And there's a huge difference. So I love that you have that. To me, that should have been your number one.
Well, but I didn't. I went the opposite way.
Yeah.
I went 1, 2, 3 and saved best last. I kind of thought we'd go random here, so.
But
it's worked out very well.
Well, I'm going to my absolute number one reason, and I've put a lot of thought behind this since yesterday, and we were talking about just as far as ranking this, but mine's soft too.
Let's bring all the feels into this one.
Mine's going to be the social emotional thing as well. I think that in fact, this is going to sound very similar. I'm going to read it word for word.
Okay.
I think we have to experience and prove, we can experience and improve to ourselves that we can do hard things. Yeah. And I'm stealing a line that you use all the time.
How do you ever gain confidence without knowing that you can do something?
Yeah. And I think it's okay that we got to give it our best shot. We're hoping to do that, but we might not be the best in the room, in the classroom. We might not have the highest grade in the classroom, but I think we need to really pause and recognize what a student gets out of taking difficult classes. So to me, there's just that sense of accomplishment. That's a building block in life that we can build on. One accomplishment builds the next one. Like, I get to hand diplomas to kids in May. That's a huge thing to a kid. Well, what you and I know, it's just the next step. It's just a block. It's a building block, and we know that there's another one coming that's going to build on top and on top. And so to me, by challenging yourself in high school to take difficult classes and to struggle, maybe even have tears,
it's okay.
Have to come in and get help.
You bet.
Just all that. Just parents, I'm encouraging you just to support.
Yeah.
Support. You don't have to go solve the problem.
No.
Don't.
Because whose problem is it? Is it a parent problem or is it the student's problem?
Correct.
Yeah.
I agree. The one that just breaks my heart is when they're in it and then it ends up becoming such a nightmare that they end up pulling the kid out, and we just taught someone how to quit.
Yeah.
That scares me. And so then we try to find a way to get this kid to convince that he's not a quitter, and we work hard on that.
I worry about what we're telling kids that we can say all the words we want, but our action showed you we didn't think you were capable of this. Yeah. Which they are. They are.
Yeah. Agreed. And parents, I just want you to think a little bit about, because I don't. Hopefully you can use this line with the students, with your kids out there. I don't know that they're going to get it, but parents, I bet you have stories to tell. And it's that adversity and opportunity. We don't know when they're coming. They are coming. Both are coming. We're not going to do a very good job of knowing which is which. One reason why I'm in this field was I just wanted to coach. I've told people.
Me too. I thought I was going to be an athletic director, and now I'm like school counselor.
Yeah.
For life.
Who wants to grow up to be a principal?
Right.
No one.
No.
I don't want to grow up to be a principal.
No.
But some of my experiences, my biggest growth in career challenge or choices came after challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm telling you, I had a coach that drove me crazy in high school. I just was convinced I could do a better job than that coach. And it was one of my driving forces to go on and go into a coaching field. Had one of those teachers like, oh my gosh, I think I could do a better job. I know I could do a better job than this person. I can say this because it was in a different state. I was teaching in a school. I was like, I can do a better job than this principal. I know I could. It's just, I learned more from seeing that adverse, being in that tough time of that, they weren't fun times. But I got career choices out of those. So I do want to share real quick about, I told you I talked to some students.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked them about, and these were students who took the trigs and those kind of courses. In fact, I was asking about trig just so we could connect. So the first kid, I said, when you took trig, would you do it again? He goes, absolutely. I got a higher ACT score. And I said, well, tell me about, was it hard? And he goes, no, I didn't think it was that hard. And I go, never mind. You're not a good one to talk to.
But I do think we kind of and it might be your and my fault. We've kind of pumped it up.
We're talking about it now.
It's totally oversold. And when they tell you they're spending 4 hours at night at home, they're not. Tell them to come in and get help from us for 30 minutes or the teacher.
Yeah, like in the first chapter, the first whatever.
Yeah. Or they were on their phone for half of it. I don't know if I believe it.
So then the student next to him, I said, well, I know you were challenged, in the class. He says, yeah, and he goes, and this student, quote, said, and I told him I wouldn't use their names on the podcast today. This student said, I gotta get this right, it's not that it's hard, it wasn't hard, it's just that it was a lot of work. He said it wasn't hard to solve the problems because he said the teacher would help if you went in and got help, but it took a lot of time. Yeah. It was a lot of work, was the word he used. And then I talked to a kiddo who failed the class. And I got, again, just said, hey, remember last year when you took that class, you failed it. Was it worth it? And I use those words. Was it worth it? And this student, I'm trying to leave the person's name out and not give away the gender or anything, but this student said, yeah, I got a higher ACT score. Yeah. I was like, but you failed the class. And the student responded, but I learned. And I was like, I just, I told this kiddo, I know last year was a tough year, and you know who I'm talking about, just a really tough year for other things. Talk about, this kid has a good attitude.
Good attitude, yeah.
Just solid.
I've seen growth, yeah.
And
I think that helped
tough.
with growth.
Yeah. So there again, that adversity led to growth. And so that's kind of what we're hearing from students. Alumni, you can chime in all you want. You remember, trig homework, you get together with other people, get help from the teacher. AP Lit, and so the science classes,
physics,
just anatomy and physiology.
Oh boy,
that's changed a lot for us through the years. It's a challenging course as well.
Chemistry, I'm hearing now, advanced biology. I mean, we have rigorous courses, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
And I think, and there again, our job is to let you know the benefits of why you should take those courses. Your job is to figure out if it fits you and your plan.
So I think I'm going to pull one of my favorite books, you guys, is Angela Duckworth's book called Grit. Yeah. And I don't think we're trying to say that students need to take every hard class because
absolutely.
That doesn't serve anybody. Doesn't serve you at home. Absolutely. You'll be crying all the time. Every hard class, I'm not here for that. But at least one hard class a semester or a year, a really challenging course. Angela Duckworth, her home rule, and she wrote the book Grit, and she studied like Navy SEALs and all these people and all this levels of grit. And basically it came down to grit is just like the level that you will continue to try at something and put into your energy into. But she says one hard thing. In their family, everybody at every time needed to be doing one hard thing, and I'm stealing that. I think it's gold right there. So, one hard thing.
There's some weird thing about it. Kind of hooks your interest, or doing something hard. There's something about it makes you kind of feel good, even whether it's hard, laborious work. And I'll be honest, as one of my challenges right now is figuring out this podcast thing and how to host it, how to get decent audio, video, and do some graphics and uploads and all these things. Today. Yeah, it's really hard, but at the same time, I think I like learning. I think we like. Yeah, it's been fun. We like learning those things. So. Yeah.
I don't know. This feels like the one that we might get some comments and some feedback for, and I'm here for it, you guys.
Yeah.
Let us know.
We played around with titles. Can I tell them my one idea for a title?
You went there.
Like, it's about hard classes, like, because you know, should we take hard classes? Should you take hard classes? And so I told them, Trig, it's a lot like Nebraska. Honestly, it's not for everyone.
It's not. If you're not going to four-year school, maybe you think about not taking.
So parents, please make the choices for the careers, because it does not. These hard classes don't fit every career path, and they're not. It's not going to work that way. But if you're telling us this, if we're going four-year school, university, you might really want to experience some of this in high school before you're paying $1,000 a class.
So much money. It's just money. You might as well burn it up and throw it away. Take them while you're here with us. Take them while you have a safety net. Take them while you have people who support and love you. We did fun. We might do this again next week. I kind of like this. My top 3 benefits, why they are definitely worth the work. I said scholarship, win the money, honey. There's no scholarship for 4.0, but I've got tons of opportunities for kids who take hard classes because it boosts ACT scores. 2, no transitional studies classes. If you don't quite understand what I'm talking about there, because I talked about it pretty fast, holler at me, call me.
Extra college courses,
extra money. Yep. They don't benefit students that don't need them. I think transitional studies classes have a place in life. I think we can help your student not have to do that. And my 3rd was you get to witness your student process stress while you have this safe net. What were your top 3?
Showing the data that we have here and within our building that it really does boost your ACT score.
6 points.
Yeah, by 6 points, and even over 4, almost 5 points on the composite.
That's like $10,000 worth of money just from a university. And 6 points.
That was by taking one Chadron High School course. So, and I have a whole article on that on a blog site. Go back to the August archive.
We might post it again on Facebook. Just
sure,
to have
we can do that again. So that way you can see the data and my thoughts on it. So just showing the data that it truly does boost the ACT score. Then the other one is the research that's behind taking rigorous courses actually leads to more achievements even in careers and jobs later. And then my last one is just to prove to yourself you can do hard things, that you can do this, that you can challenge yourself, you can accomplish that sense of accomplishment, that building block.
Will you see tears? There might be tears.
Might be.
Where do you say go talk to Mrs. Watson about that? Yeah. Say, go on and see Mr. Bradley in the morning. Go talk to Mr. Mack. Go to Mr. McLean and get some help. We got you. You don't have to fight at home. Say, I love you too much to fight about your classes. Go talk to your teachers.
Yeah. And when you're struggling like that, don't bail out.
Don't bail. We got you.
Like it sucks. It's supposed to suck. That's part of the adversity that you're feeling. Support. Bring them to us so we can kind of gear them. My theory, emotions are temporary anyway. So when you're feeling overwhelmed, it's going to pass. But let's just get you to the source that can help you. We have several of us here in the high school that do some tutoring, but we'll help students.
We'll help students. Yeah, we'll help students with anything. So you can tell by our number on here that we kind of like talking about this.
Yeah,
this is a little bit long. Sorry it was long. Yeah. We love this discussion. We love having this talk. It's a passion of ours, and just because we see the benefits year in and year out for, like I said, the last 12 years I've been seeing the benefits, and so it's just worthwhile talking about. Share this. If you have students, share it with your student, share it with your niece or nephew, share it with your brothers and sisters who have high school age kids. If they need to hear this from somebody, share it. You can email us. We have more topics to talk about, but if you have questions, we're going to let you guys run this show. So we're not the leaders here.
iTunes, Spotify, take a look at Chadron Cardinal Cast. That way you can just put it in the earbuds, go for a jog, go for a walk, listen to this. If you haven't seen us on the Chadron High School YouTube channel, that's where you'll see some of the graphics in the video as well.
You bet. We are Chadron High School Cardinal Cast. Lonnie Watson, Jerry Mack, signing out. We will see you next week, Tuesday at noon. Bye, guys. Bye, Facebook.